Are you someone who takes things personally? Well, we all take things personally. It's something that is a hard cycle to break. But once you become aware of it and learn the 4 steps that I'm going to give you within this video, you will start to be able to make changes and address taking things personally when they do come up in your daily life. And this will shift your experience with your relationships, your experience with yourself, and your experience in life in general. For healing technologies and advice for your transformation, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I put out new content. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tess and I'm at UnchartedDepths.net. I've worked in mental health and addictions for multiple years. I'm very passionate about this area of work, and I now work one-on-one with my clients, and I help people every day break through limited core belief systems, identify coping mechanisms and adaptations of the personality that were created through difficulties in childhood and trauma in childhood. I'm incredibly passionate about moving my clients back in the direction towards their authenticity. So trauma is the disconnection from the authentic self. So I help my clients to move back into that direction so they can move back towards their wholeness. I'm currently offering free discovery sessions, which are 30 minutes long, and you can book a session with me, and my website link is in the description below. So when we take things personally in general, no matter where it's coming from, we are actually a slave to outside influences, to outside opinions, to people's words, and to their actions. Think about what life would be like if you didn't take things personally. Actually take this moment right now to think about how many times during the week you actually do take things personally from others. And what if you didn't have to do that anymore? Well, I'm telling you right now, you do not have to. You can make the choice today to say, I don't want to be a slave to outside influences anymore. I want to be in control of how I respond and how I feel. You don't have to have others controlling your inner world, your inner state, your joy, your peace, and your happiness. Most people are not trying to do something to you, right? It can seem like when we take things personal, it's being done to us. This person has done this to us. But that's not how it works. If you look on a higher perspective or look deeper within, most people are choosing decisions that they make or actions or the words that come out of their mouth because it's fulfilling them in a way. It's a part of their wants. It's a part of their needs. Think about when you've made a decision or you've said something, say even in a conflict with someone, but it's coming from a place of wanting to get your point across, or you don't want to be misunderstood, or you want them to know how you feel, but it doesn't come out the right way, and the other person takes offense to it. But you weren't saying that to hurt that person or to get that person or to disappoint that person. You were saying it because it was a need in that moment and a want in that moment to speak that. And that doesn't say that you can just go around, being a jerk. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that most of the time our decisions and choices come from a place of trying to fulfill our wants or our needs, and it has nothing to do with the other person. So when we can come from this perspective that people really aren't trying to get you or trying to hurt you or trying to do something to you, when we can understand this, then when it comes up and we notice that we're taking it personal, we can remember this perspective and take a step back and inquire into it. And that leads me into step number 1, which is to inquire into what you are feeling. Why do you feel this way? So if somebody has done something and it brings up a certain emotion within you, so let's just say it's anger. Why are you angry? What are you angry about? How do you really feel? So take a moment to just sit with this and understand it before you start to internalize it and take on other people's stuff when really it has nothing to do with you. So this doesn't negate that you might not be hurt by the other person's actions or the other person's words. And it's good to honor those feelings, but is there added emotion on top of that becomes a festering or a dysfunctional emotion that really isn't based in truth? And that's where this unnecessary pain and suffering comes in. If you're hurt by it, that's okay. But are we making it bigger than it really is and almost turning it back around on us, where it's affecting our self-esteem, where we're identified with this person's actions or this person's words, and we're turning it around and it's affecting our self-worth. And this takes us into number 2, which is continuing the inquiring process to understand where this wound that's coming up in the present moment, where it's coming from, because it's usually always related back to past wounds, and it actually has nothing to do with the other person. So say, for an example, your friends went out for a night out and they didn't invite you. And what does this bring up within you? And you're taking it personally. What does it bring up in you? And then maybe in your childhood, you were bullied or you were left out a lot by the children. And so you can relate back to this old wound of feeling left out and this sadness or this loneliness that comes up, and see that it probably affected you on a deep level as a child and even affected your self-esteem or your self-worth. So this old wound has shown up in the present moment because something that's happened in the present is really triggering the past. And so it's a gateway to go into that past and heal that wound and do the belief work around it, saying, is this true, right? Do I really need to attach this to my self-worth? Is my self-worth attached to whether I get invited out or I don't get invited out? And no, it's not, but it takes really looking within and nurturing that space within and doing the belief work and understanding what emotions are coming up and how it really is related to the past. And this takes us into number 3, which is inquire within yourself, with the situation or the person that you are taking things personally from, if there may be another reason than it being personal towards you, why they chose to do what they do, or why they said what they said. We tend to make up these stories in our head of these like worst case scenarios about why this person's done what they've done, and it must be directed towards us. And then we put it on our self-worth. But 9 times out of 10, that's really not the case. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Someone that was close in my life, we were messaging each other, and then I didn't hear back from them for a couple days. And I immediately started to take it personal, like I had maybe done something wrong or that I wasn't important. So there's all these different stories that we can tell ourselves that usually hit on our core belief systems, right? Of not feeling good enough or not feeling important or feeling unlovable. And so it took me correcting myself and saying, okay, look, there's so many explanations why this person may not have responded back to me and why it took so long. I mean, there's so many reasons. They could have had a family emergency. They could be tired. They could be needing to do self-care. They could be overworked. They could have other obligations that are incredibly important. I also needed to check my belief systems around this, where I had an expectation of people answering me right away, or this person answering me, and where I was taking it personally, because we live in a society today that it's so easy to contact people and people are so accessible. And if someone doesn't answer back right away, we can take offense to that, but it shouldn't be that way. Sometimes people need to take time. They don't have the expectation to have to answer right away, right? That's a lot of pressure on people. So it's turning it back inward, back to myself, seeing my own stuff within, not pointing it in the direction towards the other, that I have done something wrong. And then I'm actually judging them for thinking that they're thinking badly of me. So it does take doing the inner work and asking the questions within to come to a place of honesty and truth, and moving away from those illusions or stories that we tell ourselves. And then this will take us into number 4, which is the need to be right. So when we take things personally, if you could inquire and look underneath, so say if you're in a conflict with someone and you're taking it personal and you're getting defensive, and is there a need to be right? So if we're not taking something personally that somebody else has said or done, we're not actually going to react and respond to them and fuel that fire. If we don't take it personally, we can just see that this person over here is having their experience. They're entitled to that experience, but I'm not going to take this on. I'm not going to take this personal. But if we have a need to prove ourselves, which is the ego, a need to be right, then we may fuel that fire and continue or engage in that conflict. So it takes asking, do I need to be right? Am I taking this personal because of my ego? When we can take a step back and just observe and really watch what's going on within and not engage in that and not take things personally, your relationships will change, your view on life will change, and your inner peace and inner state will be much more calm and much more at ease. So now you've learned the 4 steps that have personally helped me on my journey, as I used to take things very personally. And I still have to remind myself, and these steps that I've listed today help me so much in my daily life. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button and share with your friends. My name is Tess. Thanks for watching.